Okay, I am going to show you how you can make a game using HTML5 with JavaScript. To make this game we will not need anything more than a text editor, and to play the game, of course, a web browser. This video will not cover everything you need to know to make a game. It will only cover the basic for setting up a game screen. There will be a link in the description below to the documents that we are going to create in this video, so you don't have to write anything down during the video. We will make two files, a HTML file and a JavaScript file. The HTML file is very simple. We will have, of course, HTML tags, and within them a set of head tags and a set of body tags. We will have a doctype tag at the start of the page. In the start tag for HTML we can have a language attribute. Within the head tags we can add a meta-charset tag, and if we so like we can have a title tag. Finally, within the body tags we have a reference to the JavaScript file. This is sort of the most important part of the HTML file. We will name the file index.html, and with that we are done with the HTML file. It is finished. You don't have to do anything more with it. So next step is to make the JavaScript file, and we have already decided to call it game.js.
The first thing we need to do is to create the canvas that we are going to draw on. We also need a method to draw on the canvas. We use getContext2D and store that in a variable named ctx, which is short for context. This is sort of a standard name for that variable. You will see that in a lot of examples for using a canvas. We set the width and the height of the canvas, and we add the canvas to the body of the HTML page. So now we have a canvas to draw on. Next we will add the part of the code that starts the game. First we store the time that the game starts in a variable named when. We will need that to set the frame rate for the game. Frame rate is important to have the game run at the same speed, independent of how fast or slow the computer is. We then jump to the main function. That will be the loop that will make the game run. The first thing we will do in the main loop is to get the time at the start of the loop and store that in a variable named now. With the variables now and when, we can get the time since the previous loop in milliseconds. We store that in the variable delta. We will have a function named update, where we will update things like the position of sprites. We will use delta divided by 1000, which will give us the time in seconds, as a modifier in that function. That will keep the rate of changes the same, independent of the speed of the computer. When we have updated whatever needs updating, we go to the function render, where the actual drawing is done. Next, we set the variable then to now, So we are set for the next loop. Finally, we use request animation frame, which is a method to tell the browser that the program is performing an animation. We will use a bit of computer magic to make sure request animation frame will work the best with whatever browser is used. Here I am just pasting that line of code in to avoid messing it up with my lousy typing skills. So we add the function update. For the moment it is empty. We will come back to it later and add some updating. We will then add the function render, which is where we will draw to the canvas, and we will use the variable ctx to do the drawing. So first we will choose a color to use for the drawing with ctx fill style. We'll make it a blue color, and then we will use that color to fill a rectangle using ctx fill rect, setting the position at 0, 0 and the size the same as the game screen. And let's see how that turned out. So we got a dark blue rectangle in the browser, so that's all good. So let's try to add another graphic element. So we need to set up a different color for this next graphic element, or it would have the same color as the background, and then we could not see it. So we pick the color white for this. We are going to put some text in, so we set up a font for that, size and family name. The program will use a font on the user's computer, so it is good to pick a font that most people would have. We then use ctx fill text with the string that is to be written and the x and y position that the text should be placed on the game screen. And when I test this, I suddenly realize that I have set the width of the canvas wrong. I meant to set it to 640, but I did set it to 460. So we need to fix that. For the next step, we will add a bit of updating. We will move the text we have added. We start with making a variable for the y position of the text, and we call that variable hello y. We put that variable in the fill text code line, replacing the I position. In update, we add 1 to the variable, which makes the text moving down. 1 will then be added for each loop. When the text moves outside the game screen, we want to move it up to the top of the screen so it keeps on rolling. And we do this using an if statement. And when we test how the program works, it works just as intended. So, now we can make a game screen and we can put some graphic elements on it. We can make the graphic elements move. Using these principles, we can make a number of different changes taking place. One thing, however, that we still cannot do is taking inputs from the keyboard or the mouse, and that is sort of necessary to make a game. That will, however, have to wait for part 2 of making a game with HTML5 and JavaScript. For now, this will be all. Bye, and I hope to see you later.